Hey, what's going on, everybody? I just wanted to do a quick drop in, tell you all about my week. So, kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing out here. Um, yeah, so I started out my week over in Phoenix, Arizona. I picked up a load in Tolson, brought it over here to New Jersey. That was about 2,380 miles. And then after I got to New Jersey, just yesterday, I picked up this load in East Rutherford, and I'm running this down to Savannah. So there was about a 30-mile deadhead between my drop and my pick. Um, so I just kind of want to break down how that worked out for me. So this week I probably purchased about $2,912 in diesel and $93 in DEF fluid. So when I break down the calculations, like I've said in previous videos, I am on a lease purchase contract. It is a 75-25 split. Some of you might say, it's a little high for the split, but you know what? I'm happy with it because overall the company does treat me pretty decently. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so my first load paid out. How much did it pay out? Wait a second, let me find it. Where are my numbers? I just had them. So my first load paid out a gross of $6,200. My second load is paying me $2,050. So when you factor in the price of diesel, which is disgustingly high right now, and the DEF, and you want to break down your numbers. You want to figure out your rate per mile that you're making. That is one of the most important things you got to know in trucking. How much are they paying you per mile? Because when you're factoring in the cost of running a truck, you're figuring how much does it cost me to drive this truck 1 mile. So my gross rate per mile, before the dispatch fees were taken out, that was $2.57. And then after my dispatcher takes her 25% cut, that drops me down to about $1.93 per mile. So in the end, where is that? Got numbers all over the place on the screen. So let's see, total gross revenue or total net freight revenue comes up to around $6,187. My total fuel expenses were $3,005. So pretty much my gross operating profit for this week was $3,181. Now that is before my truck payments and my insurance. I'm not going to give you my fixed expenses because, well, I'm just not going to. So after I factor in my fixed expenses, I still walked away with a pretty decent amount of money this week. Hopefully next week I'm going to try and do better. We're always trying to do better. So I started off the week with a pretty long run, a good 2,000 mile run. Um, Honestly, of the two, even though that paid me $4,000 more gross, I still think that that was the weaker of load of the week. Out of the two loads, that is still the weaker load, even though it paid about $4,000 more than the second load. And that's because the rate per mile is the most important thing in this. With the rate per mile, I ended up from going from Arizona to New Jersey. I ended up spending most of those profits. Like a majority of the money went into the fuel tank. So you gotta factor that in. You got, especially now with the price of diesel being as high as it is, you really gotta factor in your fuel cost. And no, don't be afraid to ask for more money. I just heard today. So another thing I heard today was that one of the brokers I work with, C.H. Robinson, they're starting to give out fuel cards or fuel discounts for people who run their freight. I have not fact checked this yet, but I'm going to. You best believe I am going to. And next week, I'm going to try and do things a little bit differently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and run shorter runs next week. See how that turns out. See how that plays out, profitability wise. See if I can't keep the high gross and while increasing my rate per mile. And hopefully I'll come out better next week. Stay tuned and we will find out.